Good morning, everybody. It is my fifth Facebook Live in a row. Woo! I'm doing goals really well this year in 2019. Today, I wanted to talk about what's stopping you. What is it that's really holding you back from achieving everything you've ever wanted in your life? And I'll give you a hint. It's not the problems in front of you. It's the stuff you haven't dealt with behind you that's holding you back. See, when you have stuff that you've not dealt with, past issues, past traumas, mistakes you've made, failures, your brain retains that stuff. It doesn't go and let go of it. And that stuff comes up to remind you of who you were every single time you try to step forward. It's there whispering in your ear. Nobody's going to want to hear what you have to say. Nobody cares about you. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants to be with you. Every single time you try to take a step forward, that past garbage is holding you back. It's like you're carrying this giant backpack filled with garbage, and you haven't sorted through that garbage. And it's just there weighing you down. So every time you try to take a step forward, that garbage is there with you, stopping you from moving ahead. The only way to be able to make progress is to take the darn backpack off. Stop what you're doing and deal with your past. Process the garbage. Inside of the garbage is some great stuff. Even though it looks like garbage, I swear to you, this is so true. Even though your past may look like garbage, it may be filled with failures and mistakes, things you did wrong, things that hurt you, painful episodes in your life that you just want to forget about. Well, your brain doesn't forget those. And if you don't process them, they're going to stay with you in that backpack, holding you back. The only way you're ever going to be able to move forward and make progress is to deal with it. Sort through the garbage, look for the good that's in that garbage. Look for the lessons, the positive things you can pull out of those negative events, and then work on sharing those with somebody else. You can bring a lot of benefit to somebody else's life just by sharing what you've been through, letting them know that they're not alone, letting them know that they're not the only person who's ever been through this stuff, and then showing them by showing your life that there is better stuff ahead. The divorce that they went through that killed them, there's a better relationship ahead. The business they failed in, there's a better business ahead. Everything that they've been through, the school that they didn't graduate from, it's okay. There's a better education ahead. Their future is not landlocked and held down by what's in their past, as long as they process and deal with it. And the same thing is true about you. As long as you process and deal with the stuff in your past, it doesn't have to hold you back. The reason that it holds you back, and this is true for everybody, the reason your past holds you back is that your past is where fear is built. Your fears are founded on past problems. Your fears are accumulated over a lifetime based on the bad things that have happened to you in your brain's interpretation of that. And your fear is there to tell you, oh, this might happen again. You might get hurt the same way again. You better not do that. Remember what happened the last time? And so you're going to be afraid to step out. This is why it was so hard for me to do Facebook Lives, even though I knew I needed to do them for my business. I spent the last year knowing that I needed to do regular, consistent Facebook Lives in order to build my business and my brand and get my word out there, but I wouldn't do them, even though I knew I needed to. Even though I knew it wasn't going to take me that long to do them, I just couldn't make myself do it. And why? Because I was afraid. Because I was afraid of what people would think, because I was afraid of what people would say, because I was afraid nobody would watch, because I was afraid nobody would care. Because sometimes when I open my mouth, nobody does watch. Sometimes when I speak, nobody does care. Sometimes in the past, what I've said hasn't been received well. So I carry all that fear and all that baggage with me until you sit down and you process it. And you say to yourself, you know what? Just because that happened in the past doesn't mean it has to happen in the future. And you decide to take the action you need to take anyway. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be a miracle in reversals. It's going to take a little time for your brain to catch up once you've processed. It's taken me 2 years to get to the point where I've realized that I am literally sitting on a gold mine of wealth and information in my head that I haven't put out into the world, and that's why I've been broke this whole time. It's not that I don't have anything to offer. It's that I haven't been offering it to enough people in a way that they can receive. You can change your life. It'll take time. But if you will sit down and do the work involved in processing your past, I promise you, your life will change for the better. Every time I've gone through it, my life has changed for the better. I was 38 years old when I realized for the very first time that there was a story running in my brain that was seriously holding me back from achieving anything. It was causing me to push people away. It was causing me to walk away from relationships out of fear that I was going to get abandoned. And that story that I had written at the age of 4 was holding me back. It was a short story. It was called I Am Not Lovable. And the whole reason that I believed in my little head, the whole reason my 4-year-old self wrote that story was because when I was 3 years and 8 months old, my parents got divorced. And when I was 4, my dad couldn't deal with the fact that my mom had a new boyfriend and he wasn't getting to see us very much. So he packed all his stuff and he left Texas to go back home to Mississippi. And I wouldn't see him again until I was 24. And my little heart didn't know what to make of that. My little heart wrote a story that day that said, I am not lovable. Because if the man who told me he loved me more than anything else in the world could just pack up and leave and not look back, how lovable could I honestly be? And I didn't realize that that story was running through my head every time somebody tried to love on me. And it was causing me to discount their love as not being genuine. Because, hey, you can't possibly really love me. Don't you know I'm not lovable? So I would unintentionally push them away. And the more that they expressed love for me, the harder I'd push them away. And it actually caused problems in my marriage. It caused problems with my son. It caused problems with my mother. It caused problems with my whole family and every relationship I had along the way. And it definitely caused problems in my business. Because one of the things you have to understand is that when you're trying to build a business, relationships are the key to doing it. And if you can't form healthy, normal relationships with people, if you have a tendency to back away when problems surface because you assume somebody's going to abandon you, instead of confronting those problems, if you have problems keeping in touch because once they're out of sight, you figure they're out of mind and you just figure the relationship's gone, then you're going to lose customers. You're going to lose people. You have to confront your relationship issues, and all of those come from what's in your past. It's not what's in your future that's holding you back. It's what's in your past. You have got to deal with it. That's the message that's come to me really clear over this last week, is that it's all the garbage that I'm not dealing with that's keeping me back. And so I want to encourage you, stop letting that stuff hold you back. Stop being afraid of your past. Stop letting the fear drive your car. Trust me, fear is this tiny little mouse, and its job is to sit on your shoulder and watch for danger. And it will alert you to things that it sees that are potential problems along the way. And if you listen to that mouse, you can safely navigate around the dangers. You can make plans. You can find your ways around. But if you ignore that mouse, which a lot of us do, we tell the mouse, shut up, I don't want to hear that. What's going to happen is that the mouse gets louder and louder and louder and more annoying to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. Or it ends up leaving you running in the opposite direction. And when the mouse, you're faced away from it, it casts a really big shadow and it looks like this fearsome dragon that's going to eat you. But fear isn't really bad news. It's just there to tell you it's potential danger. So you'll watch out for it. And the other thing we do, and this is the one that really has unfortunate side effects, is that we let that little tiny mouse get into the car of our life and drive. And the mouse is just too small to reach that steering wheel. There is no way his pedals are going to be able to, his feet are going to be able to touch those pedals and hit the gas at the same time he's driving. He can't even see over the steering wheel, so he has no idea where you're going. You can't let fear drive your car. You can't let fear drive your life. It will wreck your life. Trust me, I'm a living example of how fear can wreck your life. Because for a lot of years, that's where I lived, letting fear drive my life. And I decided in 2019, that's not happening anymore. I can't afford for it to happen. And neither can you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you all being here. I hope you found this helpful. And if you have found it helpful, I encourage you to share it with somebody who also might find it helpful. Listen, people, we've got a lot of baggage in our past, but none of that is there to hurt us. None of it is meant to hold us back. It's all there to help us in some way. It's all there to be used to build forward, not hold us back in our past. But you've got to deal with it and you've got to process it. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more over the coming days about how you can take those past events and unwrap them and find the good in them and then share that with others so that you can benefit and so can they. All right. Thanks again. Have a great day and God bless.